Rarely do I see a wholesome X thread cross my feed in which I spend an hour just happily reading through stories of people falling in love. In fact, the hour prior, I had spent reading about the woes of angry women dating through opinion pieces on the New York Times. So instead, today, I decided it would be fun to actually read through that wholesome thread and enjoy some stories of hope, specifically in the dating world. Maybe it will even lighten some of your spirits who are in the dating world right now, the turbulence of it, and just feeling frustrated. Maybe these stories of love will bring you hope. So I'm just gonna read through them today. We got a chill episode. I'm not even wearing headphones today. As you can tell, I just decided I'm just reading, so I don't actually need to listen to anything. Okay, so this is the original post that went viral, which I'm always so curious why certain things just randomly go viral. This had almost 70 million impressions. So share a piece of dating lore about yourself. I picked some of my favorites, all right? One woman said, hubby and I met on eharmony. He was my 100th match, and I was his first. We were in their first set of commercials in 2003. Those ads were everywhere. People started recognizing us in public. Here it is. Then she links out the ad. Okay, so I did just say I'm not going to play any videos, and then I literally have a video. Okay, let me put on my headphones.
Our first phone conversation was 4.5 hours long. The whole time I was thinking, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing.
I think our second phone conversation was 4.5 hours long, too.
Yeah.
And the third.
And the fourth.
Okay, this makes me sad watching that because it reminds me of like the old days of just, not that I was in the olden days of online dating, but the concept of it just looks pure and happy, wholesome, and that is so cute. The fact that they got recognized, this guy, I remember that guy, the old man who'd be like, here at eharmony, he was iconic back in the day. She said though, to note, she said, the first date was 4.5 hours. I don't know if this is a thing for those who end up getting married, but my date with my now husband was also 5 hours of just talking. We just sat and couldn't stop talking. Diana back here is nodding her head because I know that she has a similar story with her soon-to-be husband. So I think it's a thing. You just can't stop talking. You might have found a keeper. You might have found someone that's your forever person. Oh, this one was cute. Okay, last June, I was overwhelmed with seasonal depression. I need to bring my tone down. So this one's so cute. It is cute, but I need to read the... Okay, here I go. Last June, I was overwhelmed with seasonal depression, so I broke up with my BF because I didn't want to be a burden. He researched depression, helped me find a therapist, and paid for my self-care activities while I was working on myself. He fought for us when I couldn't. This is us now. Wholesome. Green flag guy. Wow. Didn't want to give up the fight that easily, and I really respect that. I thought this girl in college was super pretty, but also I'm an uber nerd with no ability to flirt, and when she asked if we could hang out at the library, I told her all about the fantasy world I was creating. For 2 hours. She was not a nerd. We now have 5 kids. The key here, though, for just, I'm going to bring some dating advice out of these little nuggets of hope. He still, even though he thought, she doesn't also create fantasy worlds, he still shared his passions with her. And she obviously responded well. Even though she was not a nerd, it worked. So don't hide your interests and your passions and your hobbies from someone that you really like. Because if you're doing that to impress them, you're not going to be happy long-term with that person. So just get it all out up front. The more, the merrier. Make sure that, she knows you're a nerd and then she'll love you for being a nerd, before you waste all your time. When we were just 21, one of my best friends said to me, hey, if neither of us are married by 25, let's just marry each other. I said, no, 25 was too young. And he said, 26? I laughed and agreed. He proposed on my 26th birthday and we've been happily married for 13 years. That one really just baffled me. Number one, because I've heard those kind of, bets between friends often, but typically it's not till at least 40. You give yourself your 20s to find someone. This guy knew. I think, was he the one who made the bet? Yeah. See, he made the bet because he was already locked in. He was already interested. He already wanted to marry you. He just had to cushion the transition from best friend to husband. I met my husband when we were 15 in a summer theater program. I wrote him this letter. 25 years later, we matched on a dating app. He still had the letter. That's so cute. I'm sorry. So I did read the letter yesterday, and it's just kind of making comments, silly things about camp and just kind of talking about their experience, and was cute, keep in touch, all those things. But the fact that for whatever reason, that letter he hung on to for how many years? 25 years later, we matched on a dating app. The more I read that, the more I'm like, that's so cool. Wow. See? Wholesome, guys. Believe in love. It's out there. Okay, so here's another one. This is actually the one that went mega viral that actually got me to pay attention to the beginning thread in the first place, because this one I think had even more impressions than the actual prompt itself. But this girl, Mother Goose, said her lore was, right before graduating high school, my best friend of 5 years confessed his undying love and said he wanted to marry me. I freaked out, said no, and we barely spoke after that. Years passed. I realized as time went on that no one I'd ever met even came close to understanding or connecting with me as much as him. He was the best friend I'd ever had, man or woman, in my life. Exactly 4 years later, I couldn't take it anymore. I knew he was my soulmate. With shaking hands, I called his number. It's so ballsy, okay? Anyways, after saying hello, the first thing I said, my heart pounding, was, "Remember that time 4 years ago when you said you wanted to marry me? Do you still feel that way?" He didn't even hesitate. Yes. We were married less than 5 months later, have 2 kids together now. We'll be married 7 years this fall. That's so crazy. See that? I'm a hopeless romantic. Well, I was a hopeless romantic until I found love. I was just never the one in the long relationship, so I just felt like the hopeless romantic. But this is just, again, there's hope in romance here. That 4 years later, out of nowhere, not even like, hey, you want to get coffee? You want to meet up? You want to just see how each other? Nope. Right to the point. This is an example of like soulmates when you know type of thing. Even though he was the one who knew and not her. Do you guys think that soulmates exist, like, are real? You know, there's like that controversy of, are they real?
Like love at first sight?
Yeah, like love it. Yeah.
Well, when I first met Israel, I told everyone that this was my husband. And
Interesting.
I never said that with any other guy. Like, I was never the kind of person to say that. But it was like the second I met him, I was like, no, we're getting married. And it was kind of like a joke, but
yeah,
now we are. So
I remember the first time I saw Adam. Like, I was coming down my steps and my dad had invited him and the other friends that were with him into my house. And I'd never seen him in person in years, / he'd never been in my house before. And I like walked down the steps and he was wearing like gray sweatpants, which gray sweatpants on guys, hot. I'm sorry. If you don't know that, guys, go buy yourself a pair of gray sweatpants. They're just hot. And he walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, Adam's in my house. I was so excited. So in that sense, I guess that was like love at first sight. It's really the gray sweatpants, man. I just can't stress that enough. You know what else is hot? Men in Tacovas. Living here in Nashville, I have just become obsessed with cowboy boots. So is my husband. I have him in a pair of Tacovas. I wear my Tacovas literally almost every day. So whether you are a lifelong cowboy or buying your first pair of boots, Tacovas crafts quality Western boots for everyone. Every single pair is handcrafted with over 200 meticulous steps, so you get that broken-in comfort right out of the box, which you truly do. I cannot express enough how much I love Tacovas. I wear them every day. My team can attest to how many times I wear cowboy boots in just about every outfit these days. I personally have really just been trying to channel my inner cowgirl here in Nashville. But for those of you who don't want boots, they also have slip-ons and sandals. They have so many options and they're all good quality and they have that Western flair. Plus, they've also got professional grade work boots that bring comfort and timeless style to any job site. So whether you wear your Tacovas to work or a big night out, Tacovas are built to last and to impress. From generational ranchers to first-time boot buyers, there's something for everyone. Truly, just go on their website and you will be blown away and be like, oh, I see what Reagan was saying. There's literally something for everyone, because there is. They even have a whole collection of men's and women's apparel, bags, and fine leather goods. So everything. Also, everything smells good because it smells like leather, which I love. The thing I love most about my personal Tacovas is that they are just so versatile. I can wear them with a fancy outfit, with a dress down outfit. I can wear them to garden, literally anything. And they are so comfortable. Rarely do you get anything with a heel that's actually comfortable. Tacovas have blown my mind. And now I understand why people here wear cowboy boots all of the time. So if you guys want to try Tacovas for yourself, right now you can get 10% off at tacovas.com/comments when you sign up for their emails and texts. Plus, with Tacovas Best in the West guarantee, you get free returns and exchanges for 30 days. So there's no risk in finally trying out that pair that you've been eyeing up, which I have many in the queue that I have been eyeing up. As a reminder, that's 10% off at Tacovas, tecovas.com/comments. So pick up a pair of Tacovas today. Look good, look sharp for the ladies out there, you men and ladies too. You'll love them. They're like the equivalent men in sweatpants, girls in cowboy boots. Now back to this woman, Mother Goose, though. Hers went especially viral, like I was saying. And so she was getting, oddly, a lot of flack from people on X. I shouldn't even say oddly. If you post something on X, you're going to get crap. Regardless of if you post a beautiful thing or a hateful thing, you will get the opposite of the type of content that you post. So if it's nice, you get hate. If it's awful, you get love. You know what I'm saying? That's a thing that happens on X a lot. But this woman just got roasted by a lot of people being like, oh yeah, you needed to go find yourself for 4 years. But I know what you were doing for those 4 years in college while you were finding yourself. That was all of the comments. So this woman she added a bit more context. She said, well, this went viral. I'm not sure what the lesson to take away from our love story is. Maybe that first, the kids you grew up with through your very formative years can often be the best to marry. We're so compatible, it's like we have twin souls. I think it's helpful when you do share like a common background, you know? Whether it's your childhood or just similar childhoods, that's probably like a way that a lot of people bond. I'm thinking about that through my husband, and we did share very similar childhoods, being the same town, the same school for a lot of our lives, but just we're not friends at the time. But so we do have that in common. So it works for some people. Others, doesn't need to be, you know? Second, most seem to have the one that got away, always in the back of their mind, like what if? Maybe they feel that way about you too. maybe get up the nerve and call them. If neither of you are married with kids, that's key. If the other person is not in a relationship, you never know. And then again, because all the haters were just giving her crap, one said, LOL, had to go figure out what real life was like in college first, huh? That was everyone. I love how the guy's name is your dad. She said, nope, never went to college, never dated anyone. I was raised by very strict religious parents. I talked a lot about it on here, how I saved myself for marriage. So if that's what you're insinuating, you're wrong. LOL. I love that. Owned. So to end this hopeful, loving episode, I thought it would be fun to actually share a little bit about my lore, because I was even going to make a tweet yesterday about my lore and then I got sidetracked. So maybe I'll do that today. But I do just want to kind of share you guys what I would have said on Twitter had I written it. So actually, my love story started on X when it was Twitter, because even though I was not a big Twitter user, I just used to tweet about the Dallas Cowboys all the time. That was literally the only thing I ever tweeted about. But I had recently come home from college. I had fallen, broken my shoulder, torn my labrum, just destroyed my arm, and had to come home for physical therapy. So I had to stop college, take a semester off, come home. I was so mad. I was so sad. And I was so excited to go, follow my dreams, pursue the big city, all those things. And I was just forced to come back, live at my parents' house. And I was just angry. And that December, I remember being so upset. And so why is this happening to me? God, why did you let this happen? What is going on? And it was the first real time in my life where I was really mad at God too. I remember just being like, what do you mean? Why? So 2 days after that happened, the fall, I came home right away. And I had gotten this message from a guy on Twitter at the time. And he was a guy who went to my same high school, but we were not friends. We were not in classes together. We had no overlap of lives prior to really this message. And he said, out of nowhere, hey, just wanted to let you know that I'm praying for you. I hope you're doing well. God has a reason for everything. Stay strong. And I responded and just said, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. And little did I know at the time that 2 months later, we would actually get to hang out. He would walk into my house in those gray sweatpants. I saw him, was like, I'm in love. This man is amazing. And in no time after that, we started dating. We dated for years all throughout college, because I did then eventually go back to college. And then as of a couple days ago, we are celebrating our 3rd wedding anniversary. And I just thought that message in particular was really fun. And it's something I love to look back on now, where for whatever reason he messaged me. He even said at that time, I don't even know why I messaged you. I knew that I heard from my mom that something had happened to you and you were back in town. And I just wanted to send you some encouragement. Again, even though we weren't friends, but specifically the part in the message where it says, God has a reason for everything. And what I love about that is I attribute that time in my life. And that season was very hard. I was going through a lot physically, and frankly, mentally and spiritually, because I was sad and angry. But the literal reason I attribute to having that all happen was that God put Adam into my life. So I love that, because even when it's really hard, God is using those times in your life for other things that you may not even understand or realize till decades later. And so I also just wanted to give you that encouragement that He's working all things together for your good and for His glory. So that's just a little bit about our story. And someday I should have him on the show so he can actually just talk to you about it. We can have a little dating advice segment. But as a whole, I just hope that this episode made you smile. And if you have become a bit of a skeptic in the dating world, I hope that you believe in love again. Good luck, everyone. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. For other content, you can also follow me on Instagram and X, as well as our brand new comment section Instagram. I'll see you guys in the next episode.